Fuck. Episode 33?
33.
Somewhat Savants. Coming at you. A little gay.
It is pretty gay.
Ready to do it again? I just did a gay-ass intro. This is episode 33. What's up?
That was even worse.
This is just on my mind. I was just watching it. Breaking fucking news. Kyle Rittenhouse. For those who don't know, would you give a quick synopsis of what you know?
Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse. Kenosha, back in the summer of love, 2020. Went to Kenosha, wasn't from there. Brought a firearm with him. Decided that it was his, duty to go where the riots were happening. His goal, according to him, was to administer care, to hurt people, and to protect private business and private property. Well, he is now the vigilante we all know, and he got ambushed by a couple of people, hit over the head with a skateboard or whatever. One of the individuals had a gun. These two were pedophiles, and he shot the guy in self-defense, is what his case is. And he killed one person, and he shot the other guy. It hit him in his arm. As he said in the trial, what did he say? He said he evaporated his bicep.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that's what happened. Obviously, he is a polarizing figure. And self-defense or not self-defense? The other side is saying he came with the intent to kill people. The other side is saying it was self-defense. I think it's clear as day that it was self-defense. When you strip away intention, why he was there, but the moment at hand of him getting ambushed, him on the ground and shooting the shot, self-defense.
I agree with you. Excellent synopsis, by the way. The breaking news I was stating before is that he, I believe for the first time, went to take the stand
he testified
an hour or so ago.
Yeah, and they advised him the risks of doing that, and then he got emotional.
He had full-out mental breakdown on the first try. He couldn't utter a word.
No.
Now, as someone who's been through the legal system, I've not ever gone to trial. I knew for my situation that was a stupid idea.
The closest I got to a trial was being on the jury, being asked when I was at jury duty. I made it into the courtroom, and I got to see the defendant. Anyway.
I've got opinions on jury duty, and I'll hold them for later.
I've been 3 times already. Can you believe that?
I think most jurors are probably idiots, and that factored into my head during my legal problems to why I didn't want to go to fucking trial.
You calling me an idiot?
No, not you specifically, but I think
I never made it to a jury.
There's a joke that says any juror is just somebody who wasn't smart enough to get out of jury duty. Just to say, oh, I'm racist as shit. See ya.
Okay, that's
I've
hilarious.
never been called.
I guess I am an idiot because I never found a way out of all 3 of them.
Well,
anyway,
that's your problem.
So this reminded you of your experience in the system.
When I was sitting in the sheriff's office, and for those who don't know, I a couple of years ago had a really bad opiate problem, prescription opiates, and I would go to any lengths to get them, and one of those lengths was entering somebody's home under false pretenses, taking their opiates and leaving. And I got charged, ultimately convicted, and I'm just about done with all of it. This was many years ago. I was sitting in that sheriff's office. I remember getting a call. I was pulling into a pawn shop to pawn something. Walt's Pawn on fucking 40.
Ocala.
You pass it when you come here.
Right.
And the sheriff called me, and this was months ago this happened. And
Wait, this phone call happened months ago just recently?
No. Years and years ago.
Oh, okay.
I'm like 5 years ago right now. And I'm saying, sorry, the offense happened many months.
Oh, before that phone call. Gotcha.
Correct. And sheriff called me, can you come talk, this and that? My heart sank to my stomach. I called my mom. I found out some more details. And when I was in that sheriff's office, and I was initially advised not to say anything. And whenever he asked a question, I was told by a police officer, family friend, to say, I don't want to talk to you about that. Specifically, that phrase. And when that wasn't working, I guess they had enough shit against me where you're going to jail whether you cooperate or not. And once I found that out, those kind of emotions came out of me. And I can, as much as people want to lambaste it in the comments or whatever, can very much identify with Kyle Rittenhouse, who to me appears like somebody who grew up like myself and if I'm way wrong on these details, then you can lambaste me, but a 2-parent, regular, conservative, traditional household. And when you find out, oh God, I'm like really in legal, the deepest you can get trouble.
Yeah, murder trial.
Well, he was worse than me.
That's what I'm saying.
I was a burglary, and I had those emotions come out. And I mean, that was a very long-winded way to say that I can 100% see from my perspective, I don't think those were fake crocodile tears.
No, and not only that, when you add that element of what you just described, plus the element of the flashback of being in the moment of maybe getting killed, and then you're the one that's trying to fight for your freedom today, like, oh yeah, I mean, I could totally see a wave of certain emotions hitting you.
And I would venture to say that most human beings would love to live their entire life and probably not have ended someone else's. There's definitely your exceptions out there. There's crazy people, but the tragedy and the trauma, the very recent trauma of having to recall detail by detail when you ended someone else's life.
Right.
Yes, your limbic system kicked in and you went lizard brain and you were defending yourself. That's what more people need to understand. It's like this chemical response that would happen to every single human being if they were in that position.
I know.
Whether they succeeded or not, they would have tried.
Yeah, he had the tool to do that defending, and he acted on it. I mean, and plus, there's enough footage of the dude. He's there. You watch the videos. I can't believe that. He's got the blue gloves on. The dude goes to school for nursing. He's on camera, like with the gun, saying, we're here to do whatever. I'm here to, help any way I can, And there's one video that's out there of him being like, EMS, like breaks from the video of whoever was asking him questions. And then when you consider the argument of the other side, and they're saying he went out with the intent to kill, and you can't apply that theory of intent to the video of the whole ordeal because he's on the ground, clearly getting ambushed, and it's quoted that these people said, if we get you alone, we're gonna effing kill you. We're gonna effing tear your heart out. Very explicit stuff. And on top of that, did you see the witness on the stand?
No.
Oh, it's great. The prosecution, it's hilarious. Literally, the prosecution calls this witness up, the one who got his arm shot, his bicep blown up, and they're literally feeding him would you say, and I don't know if they were like, listen, you need to say this when we ask you this. I don't know how this all went down, but the prosecution is up there and it's going, would you say that Rittenhouse didn't pull the trigger until you were over top? They're basically just laying it out for the self-defense case, hoping probably this witness that they called would be like, no, that's not what happened. And literally the witness goes, yes. And you can see the prosecution. He's sitting there like this. Like, it's so bad. It's going very bad for them right now. So nonetheless, that was before Kyle went up. And now he went up, and it's wild.
I can't imagine. And how old is this kid? That's one thing.
He's like 18.
I was going to say, I didn't put that on the notes. but that's a huge factor. I just implore anybody who is just so willing and ready to shit on this poor kid to very much attempt to put yourself in his shoes.
For sure. Now, it's one thing to argue, should he have been there? Should he have gone there? Whatever. But that's not what's in question. What's in question is the altercation.
And let me say this for should he have been there. For those who are super out of the loop, or if it just slipped your mind, this was during the very height of the long-spanned George Floyd riots.
Yeah. Yes, riots.
And how many people more than likely traveled from way far away to attend some of those riots in favor of destroying towns and causing chaos and really just probably letting out most of their COVID frustrations out and called it, use the riot
for the
as
cause.
an excuse.
Right, and that's a good point. I wonder how many people did destruction from out of town. I know that was a big thing at the time. It happened in Orlando, a little protest. It didn't get into a riot. They got on the 408 and they tear gassed them and stuff, but we were a blip on the radar compared to what was going around the whole country.
You told me a story where you were at a gas station.
Oh, yeah, I was, because we were there.
Tell it.
Yeah, so we went to the Orlando protest, riot, or whatever, to see it. And let me tell you something. Mob mentality is scary in real life. We went and we were walking. Because downtown Orlando's got a lot of nightlife. Okay, so we figured, hey, let's go get a drink and let's go check out the protest because I heard there's one going down.
Why not?
So we went and, we're chilling at the what is it? I think it's the Dapper Duck, whatever. It's on Orange Ave. The protest is, they're and compared to the other ones, it wasn't that many people, but I would say it was about, 100 to maybe 200, maybe 300 in that range. I don't know exactly. And they're walking through Orange Ave in the street. And I remember so clear, because I remember also it was like, can we go to a bar during this COVID time? And we were there. People were there. And they walked by. We're outside, and I'm drinking my High Life, and these people are walking by, and people are like, yeah, And I remember it so vividly. This woman is like, or this girl, she looked at us, everyone outside in this patio, while everyone's cheering them on in the street, and she's like, come join us then. Because they were cheering, she was basically like super conviction and was just screaming, come join us. And we're like, oh shit. So, it tails by. So we're like, fuck it. Let's just, let's get on the tail end of this thing. So we get on the tail end, we're walking it, and we're following it. Ended up running into someone we knew. That was crazy. They're like all about it. They're like, fist in the air. We're just kind of like, I'm recording on my phone. And I still have the footage. I'll have to show it to you. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can put it up. Yeah. And we get to a turn. We're on 50 Colonial, right by the tattoo shop, the mural, that whole area, right where Orange and Colonial meet. And I remember, I'm like, I gotta piss. And I remember we kind of came to this standstill because the cops knew that this was happening, so they had certain sections blocked off, and you could see they couldn't go any further down this way. So the mob kind of stopped for a second, and we cut across 50, and there's a 7-Eleven right there. I'm like, I gotta go piss, right? So we're like walking over. Now we're in front of the mob, but I didn't think they were gonna keep moving. Well, as soon as two people just broke form and started the new direction, they followed. So we look behind us, because what happened was we're getting to the gas station, and I'm like going to the door, and I see the attendant run up to the door, and she's like, locks this shit, locks it right up, and I'm like, what? And we look back, and they're all coming through, and it's the gas station, the 7-Eleven with the no roof, you know what I'm talking about? They're all coming through, and then all the cops that were following on bikes, they barricade the 7-Eleven because they think that they're gonna break in. Oh my God, bro. And the cops are sitting there, and all the people are like, yelling in their faces. And I look back and I'm like, yo, we just caused them to follow us here. Like, and they swarmed the pumps. They were everywhere. And eventually they made their way through and we dipped. And that was our experience. And all I can say is that was mob mentality. The mob had an energy to it. They saw two people break and move a certain direction. They said, let's go. And we weren't even telling them to come with us. I had to piss. Didn't even say a peep.
I swore, and correct me if I'm wrong, the memory is a failing bitch. You had told me like a glass broke or there was something that happened and you looked around and you knew that was like the fucking kindling for that mob.
Oh, right.
To ignite.
Yeah, like you could tell it was on the precipice of just violence. You could just feel it because you would hear sounds and it just took that extra push for something to happen. And luckily it never did for us. And it was very aggressive. They were, very aggressive. They were yelling at the police officers. They were yelling at people and whatever. But you could tell it was on the precipice of just full-on chaos for a minute. However, the amount of people here might have been controllable.
I'm willing...
from the law enforcement side of it. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know.
I'm willing to bet if there were 250 more people there and two people got into a shoving match, hell would have broke loose.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it got tense with the police on the bicycles. And it got tense because I was sitting there like watching.
And there's a ton of bicycle cops in Orlando because there's some roads, especially at night, and this was my worst nightmare as an Uber driver, where they're calling you on that certain part of Orange Avenue that's just closed and like, come get me.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I can send this to you. We can clip it up and it can play while we talk over it. So anyway, yeah. So that's Kyle Rittenhouse for you.
All of that. Because we were supremely long-winded, but I mean, that's kind of what makes us great. To say and set all the circumstance around.
And that one was way worse. Because they were destroying everything.
To my knowledge, I had known of Kenosha as a town. Oh, Kenosha,
Wisconsin.
You make the jokes. And I'm a Packer fan, and my dad was literally born in Green Bay and then moved when he was really young.
My wife grew up in Wisconsin.
I had heard of Kenosha. I, in my head, view probably Kenosha and Ocala as relatively the same type of town. Unless Kenosha is this metropolis I don't know about.
I think you're on point with comparing it.
From the footage I saw, it looked like it took place on fucking Main Street, like in a very stereotypical neighborhood. If there was a film on Americana and we want to show the traditional, even if it's propaganda, whatever, American experience of these houses with the porches out front, typically Southern almost looking.
Yeah, and then you go through a random intersection and you got all your convenience stores and a couple of fast foods. It's like that meme where they go America in movies and it's a beautiful skyline, and then it's like America in real life, and it's just like
that picture's like after you pull off an interstate and you see, they got a fucking Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, let's stop here. So exactly. And I don't know. All I can say is it was chaos. Kyle Rittenhouse, I don't give a shit why he was there. It was self-defense.
I agree. And you know what? That case is pending. It's really kind of just started. Only a couple days now, a few days.
Yeah, I think they're on like day 3 or something. I don't know.
But let me bring this hot topic up because you want to talk about chaos.
And mobs.
Look at your what you got in your hands. The Travis Scott Astroworld tragedy.
I got a lot on this.
Debacle. And now what's really looking to me, a person
quite suspicious.
Suspicious and conspiratorial.
We'll say that.
I'm going to use that word.
I mean, it didn't take long for a conspiracy to get whipped up about it, but as someone who's going to a music festival in 2 days, and I've been watching the footage of people who were there, real life accounts, 50,000 in attendance, okay? But here's the thing. A lot of those people didn't pay to come in because the footage, and this is, thanks to TikTok, we get a lot of it now. I don't know if you saw the footage. So there was red flags from the beginning, apparently. If you got to find these clips because these people bursted through security. They tore down the fences. And you know it. You told me that he's known for inciting and a lot of crazy stuff happening at his shows. Well, this one, you could just tell it was all adding up to this one or something, because this one was a great release. But the video, you could see all the people, and you could see the metal detection devices that you walk through, and the people burst through. It looked like no one was working it. That's what was weird. I don't know if they got out of there or something, but I didn't see any like workers or like any security, and they're literally pouring through. And there's someone else got a footage from like this grassy hill of where the entrance was, and they're all running like mob, and people were getting trampled. Like it literally was clogging through, and like you could see the people falling and people getting on top of one another
from the opening.
Okay, this is daytime. Whew. Daytime. So poor security, like you had mentioned, and it looked like it was almost absent. So there you go, 50,000 people, but a lot of these people probably shouldn't even been there in the first place.
A lot of sneakers in. That's a stupid term to use.
A lot of just raging lunatics who broke in, really.
I would also, just to wrap things totally together, contribute this to like a COVID frenzy where we have been like pent up animals, because humans are animals, and
mob mentality.
That contributes to the exact same thing we were just talking about.
Oh yeah, like all it took was for one or two people to be like, fuck this. They broke through, and everyone's like, let's go. And it was creepy watching the video of them running up, and then like you could see like it was almost zombie-like World War Z. Like the one dude just like jumped on the fence, he starts climbing, and then you could hear everyone like, just push it down. And they just take this whole chain link fence down. Damn. And they make their way in. So that was from the get-go. Now we're in the concert. We're 50,000 people deep. Travis Scott.
And the point of this, I know, was to take the old Astroworld theme park and turn it into like this twisted, damn near demonic looking carnival.
Well, I tell you what, they nailed it on the head this time. Especially with the imagery that I was seeing. And here's something too. I was going to tell you, remember I saved this story for today? Me and my wife have been watching this because we go to these things. You know what I mean? So this is like, we're not necessarily on edge for this weekend, but nonetheless, it has convinced me even further, because we don't do deep crowds anymore just because, we're too old for that shit. I don't like doing it anymore. Now it's made it official. Like, I ain't getting in the damn crowd like that far in anytime soon for any of this stuff. So we were watching the videos and how everyone rushed in, and I thought back to when I was at Okeechobee Fest last year and Bass Nectar played. Now, here's the story I was going to tell you. We were at the same stage because a lot of the artists will rotate on the stage, obviously. There's multiple stages, but certain set will be on this one stage. We went to go see Big Gigantic, and we're up there loving it. It's great. Next after them was Bass Nectar. Well, we were so invested into the show at hand, we weren't paying attention to the build-up behind us, and we were there for the entire set. The set ended, and we look at each other like, all right, let's get out of here. Like we turn around to walls of people, to people sitting, like literally sitting, like they're all sitting, holding their spot, and we're like, whoa, what happened? Like we turn around, because it did get more dense, not nearly as dense as this. But then we put two and two together, and we're like, Bass Nectar's next. Because that's how diehard the fans were. I mean, he's canceled now. But that's how diehard the fans were. They were so diehard, they were all sitting down, like claiming like spots. Like they didn't even give a shit about, big gigantic at the time. So they're all sitting and there's no foot space. There's nowhere to get out. So we're like, oh my God. So we are like, let's link arms. Like, we have to get out of here. And that was a high anxiety moment. And that was nothing even close to this. Like, I stepped on people leaving. Now, when I saw the videos of this, through the guardrails, you can see them sandwiched, and it doesn't even look fun. That's how packed it was. Like, people are laying over the rails, and they're like, with their stupid phones, and just contorted. That's how packed it was at this Astroworld.
To me, I like Travis Scott. I do know that he has like this weird cult following.
Clearly.
Emphasis on cult. I'm not insinuating that he has started a cult, but the only time you ever see, and yes, this was a terrible accident and tragedy. Nobody, I like to think, meant for this to happen, but people willing to put themselves in a position to die for a celebrity.
But here's the thing. I don't think people knew they were going to die.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to challenge you here in a second, because I'm about to get a little spiritual with you, because let's dive in for a second into the conspiracy. So people died. 8 people, okay? Actually, 11. Cardiac arrest.
Whoa.
People are dropping dead, crushed, suffocated, what have you.
Reports of rampant injection drug use across the entire campus.
With fentanyl overdoses. Did you hear about the cop, the security got stuck in the neck? They confirmed it.
With a fentanyl?
With an injection of some type.
Oh, God. No, I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, the police chief confirmed it. They said that based on what they saw, they can confirm that someone came up and in the neck. So there's people doing this throughout the show, and we have like 14, 10-year-olds here. But from what I saw, from what I've read so far, before he even went on, there was this low brain tremor type music, this frequency leading up to the show. And a couple of accounts that I saw said it was just weird. One girl that we watched a video of on TikTok said that she passed out during the frequency, and she just said it was hurting her head. But if you watch some of the videos before he comes on, it's like this just constant frequency sound, right? So that's in play. People have broken in. They've bum rushed it. They're packed full. So he comes on. He's getting ready to come on. First image is a bird flapping its wings on fire with this whatever the fuck it is, right? Imagery. Weird. He gets on. And now this is the conspiracy. I'm not saying this, I'm like, this is the shit. You better believe it. He comes out. I don't know if you saw the images in the portal, and it said, see you on the other side. That was the tagline for this. See you on the other side. The flames burst. Huge flames when he comes on. 4 on each side. 8. 8 people drop. People are drawing connections. I don't know. I mean, the connections run.
It's weird.
Look, it runs even deep. People are saying that the Fauci ouchie, people who had the Fauci ouchie, the whatever's in it's interact. I mean, that's a little far, but it's interacting with the free.
Keep going.
So 4 flames, right? People are dropping. People are suffocating. They're getting trampled, and it's just not right. Now, people die at concerts all the time, at festivals all the time. It happens at the raves. People die. Usually, it is equated to a drug overdose that is easily identifiable. They probably don't even account for all the deaths that happen there. I don't know. Maybe the ones... I saw this on another show. It was a good point. That they said that people they can get out before they're declared dead, maybe not counted as a festival death, just after, because they didn't die there. But, it just seemed excessive. 8 people, 4 flames, all the imagery, his shirt, had the little blue person walking through a door, and then out the door, he turns into a little red demon that was on his T-shirt. So people are drawing conclusions, is what I'm saying, right? And then, of course, like you said here, they're all screaming, stop the show, because they're realizing people are dying. And did you see the clip where he's up on the stand and he's looking down and he's saying, hey, yo, someone come, help. He did say come help this person or whatever. And he's up on the platform, and then he goes into that auto tune. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like looking at the person being lifted out of the crowd, lifeless, because this person who filmed it is like filming right by the dead person. I'm assuming they died. Then going to Travis Scott and then and they're like pulling him out, and he's just like, yeah. And it almost looked like he was possessed or something. It was weird. Like he wasn't stopping. It almost like he was looking right at him. And now people are like, well, Travis Scott did stop. But people have already made videos now showing other concerts of where people stopped the show.
That's been a huge
thing.
Trend.
And it's been a stark difference on how they've stopped the show. Linkin Park was a big example where they were like, yo, stop. You probably have seen it.
I saw Hall & Oates. I think I saw Mariah Carey.
They stop it like there's no sound. Stopped, So he doesn't stop it. So that's weird. They're screaming, and I've seen so many videos now where you can hear the shrieking where people are like, there's one, it gave me the chills. And she's like, help me, help. Like you can hear it like subtly. It's like loud, but you can hear this person trampled. I don't know. So there's that. And then finally, the other thing that I found weird, because there was people said they saw like someone walking on the top of the stage. This was during the day. It looked like it was a screen to me. I'm not convinced. People think it was, because it doesn't look human, but it might have been a projection of some type. I'm not really convinced. But the one thing that got me, the last thing I'll say that I thought was super strange, was there was at one point when he's on the stage, and mind you, the rails were apparently shaped like an upside down cross. I don't know how true that is. And the way it was designed almost kept everyone boxed in like to little quadrants. So it was really hard to get out. Back to what I was saying with these two people on stage, it appeared as if these two guys on stage were trying to stop him, tell him what was going on, because he was at the end. They were like right here. He turned around and he's like walking past him. He's like, da. Like doesn't really acknowledge them, and then goes into another song, and the hype comes. It's real intense. And then the camera, there's another angle of these two guys, and they were calm. They were like standing up there. They weren't really moving. And then right when he kicks up the song, these two dudes leap from the stage and just jump into the crowd. Like superhuman leap. Like they just like rage jumped into the crowd, like out of nowhere. Why did they jump like that? It's just kind of weird.
I need you to send me all this footage.
I'll send it to you.
And I'm going to put it up there. Let me back you up.
Yeah, back me up, because I might have skipped over something here.
No, by reading some of these quotes.
Yeah,
to corroborate everything you just said. From Reuters.com. This is an exact quote. At around the half-hour mark and footage uploaded to YouTube, I'll paraphrase here, and TikTok, quote, Scott pauses the show for the first time. He says, and I quote, there's an ambulance in the ... Whoa. In an aerial shot, the white top of what appears to be an emergency vehicle could be seen swallowed up in the crowd. Moments later, Scott continues the show, re-energizing the audience. He says, and I quote, 2 hands to the sky. I want to make this ... ground shake.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the moment where those two dudes jump off. I might be wrong. And what's interesting about that ambulance is apparently Kylie Jenner posted a video that had the ambulance in it, then deleted it.
I know she made a statement after the fact. I didn't look at that statement. I honestly forgot those two fuckers were still together.
I know.
Continuing, 15 minutes after that initial stop, the show stops again, and Travis Scott calls for, very half-heartedly, I'll admit, security for an unconscious fan, saying, get someone over here. The exact moment after he calls for someone to get over here, this person needs help, he incites the crowd to, quote, make an earthquake.
And so, like, why would you do that directly after calling for someone to get help?
You wouldn't.
Right. So it says here, too, he was partying at the Houston Dave & Buster's when he received the tragic news.
The fucker continued and finished the whole show.
Yeah. Like, continued the whole show. And then, did you see the apology?
A very half-assed, black and white Instagram, I just woke up, fuck, let me do this shit type of apology.
It was cringe, bro. It looked like he was trying to force emotion, and it was just super weird.
It was a bad look. If I was his publicist, I would have been on his ass 24/7.
Like, you need to redo that right now. I don't care if you got to fucking squeeze Vicks into your eyeballs. That's what they do. I mean, you're not fucking actors kidding. Who suck on TV.
I know.
So yeah, no, it was complete horseshit. Like I literally watched it and I looked at it. I'm like, this dude almost seemed irritated that he had to do it. He seemed irritated, and it's funny because did you remember the video of the dude who tried to take his shoe?
Travis Scott's shoe? No, not at all.
So he crowd surfed or something, and this dude, because like, look, let's face it. We live in a celebrity world where they're worshipped. Worshipped. When you don't have a god, you will worship something.
They're worshipped and their things are worth shit.
Yes. Well, this person, I guess, like, tried to get the shoe or something, and Travis Scott, he said, you know, what are you, a thief? You taking my shoe, whatever. And then he proceeded to tell the crowd to fuck him up. Like, that's crazy. Like a shoe. Come on. I get it. Like, I'm sure it gets annoying, but he literally, if you watch this video too, this is not Astroworld. This is a previous time, but he, you know, it feeds into what you said. He's known for this, inciting. Fuck him up. The security had to pull the kid out because they were going to kill him probably.
Yeah, and the kid probably got removed from the concert and removed from having a good time. And if it's me, and sure, I'm not in this position, but if somebody took a single shoe of mine, that would kind of be hilarious.
Right?
And I'd look forward to seeing it on eBay and Travis Scott's shoe, and it's funny.
I'd throw the other one at him.
It's fucking funny.
No, but apparently it's fuck him up, according to him. I don't like the guy.
There's something I don't like about him either. My late friend Matthew Proctor loved his music, and
because he was on to him before he was big.
He was on to him very early on, like mixtape season, and he was always just tapped in. He had showed him to me, and I've never been one to fully subscribe to this new movement of rap where you're moaning into an auto-tuned mic. I'm going to auto-tune that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious. I can.
I'm a highlight.
And you can make it sound good. I will.
Please make me sound good.
I'll try. I'll go on record and say, I know I'd say Future, the rapper Future, is probably the godfather of what we call mumble rap.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly that has exploded and has really breached beyond even just these, like, we think it's just a bunch of teenagers who love it. I mean, I've seen grown adults who love that kind of music. Now, it also fits a certain demographic, if I'm just being fucking honest here.
An aggressive one.
A very aggressive one. Ones that would attend a mob. But that's all it is relying on an excellent engineer and producer to make sure your off-key ramblings, when you're all codined out, sound great. And while we're talking about Future for a second, had the famous song "Mask Off," where he's the chorus is Percocet.
How's it go again? Percocet.
Molly Percocet.
Is that Future?
That's Future.
Damn.
Has another song called "Codeine Crazy." Has songs like
it's in the music.
I love taking opiates. I'm gonna say this for me personally. Matt put me on to Future and stuff like that, and somewhere in the synapses of my brain, I connected opiate use and creativity. And that's what I ultimately attribute to me, who takes the blame and took the pill, but I attribute the brainwashing of that music to getting me in that kind of fucking headspace.
And you know what, dude? I'm glad you said that, because now we know that is not the case. That is not what links creativity up. These substances. It's all bullshit. It's brainwashing. The mainstream music is not healthy for us. And I truly believe with all these, with music like that, where they're promoting it. I saw what picture, I think it was Jeezy and like his kid, he sent him to college and everything. And he made his living telling kids the exact opposite of what he had his kid do. And I love Jeezy too. I think he used to be one of my favorites back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's brainwashing. It is brainwashing music, and it's got the youth, and it's got all of this generation under a freaking spell. And I feel like this concert, I mean, personally, I think it was like almost like a ritual. It seemed very ritual.
That's everything you were telling me, and we will get the video evidence.
And there's plenty of it.
Seems to point to that area.
Because I don't know where you stand spiritually anymore, but I said I was going to challenge you. But I feel like someone who is in limbo with their spirituality can at least acknowledge there's dark energies, and I feel like they were summoned that night.
I 100% agree. I grew up very Christian, had my time in the sun as a devout Christian, and after my drug problem fell out of everything, I don't know what I believe, but I can't lie to you and say there hasn't been times where I've walked into like a room, an area, not all the time where it's like, oh, this guy's got a mental problem. It's a few times where I've walked into a space or a presence and you just feel something dark.
And that's what people were saying in the beginning of this, too.
And let me give some credibility to the brainwaves thing. Back in the day, being the fucking junkie drug addict that I am, there was this app called iDoser. And what it was very crude and elementary. What am I trying to say? It was a very early app in the iTunes App Store. It was very crude and it was very elementary there. And you would put on a specific pair of headphones, like they told you, like these are the best headphones to enjoy this experience. And you would hit different frequencies. One was peyote, one was cocaine, one was marijuana, one was heroin. How accurate were they? I don't know. But I remember sitting there with my Sennheiser F58s or whatever the fucking nice headphones I made my mom buy were, to say I was working on music or podcasting and I wanted to get high via brain frequencies, and you would trip. I don't think that app probably still exists, but there is a 100% likelihood that you can like cast a spell over a group of people or whoever with certain frequencies. And that's fucking weird. There have been artists who have experimented with that. Kid Cudi's one of those guys, and Kanye's kind of one of those guys.
I mean, it was in that movie, the Josie and the Pussycat Dolls. That was like the main plot line.
I never saw that.
Where they had the headphones on and like there was like a program frequency that like made everyone like this one artist. It's been even experimented with in plot lines.
Well, that's a real thing in pop music.
That's what, yeah.
And I think it is frequencies, but then it's also like times and all that. The most despicable part about all this shit is an artist, and I agree with you with the demonic shit and the weird imagery and coincidences that happen.
And I didn't conjure this up. This is just what people are saying.
Correct. Take all that away for a second, just for the sake of argument. An artist who, whether you're just so hype in the moment or thinking the show must go on, any artist who has the nerve to continue performing once they see not one, not two, but 8 people in their immediate vicinity, and as a performer, as somebody who has performed on stage doing rap Christian rap, but whatever. I performed at some big places, somewhere it was very dark and all that. You can see what the fuck's going on in your immediate vicinity.
Yeah, because typically people, when someone drops, they there's a little bit of commotion. It's not just the one person. People are making space, and maybe they couldn't in this instance. I don't know, but
it's an outdoor concert the crowd is very well lit at times. The dude could have saw what was going on, and he chose to keep going. And even after 8 people went down at his show, which that seems like something he must be used to, because he decides to go to a Dave & Buster's and proceed to party and get drunk and high and play games and do whatever. And then that's where he finds out, yo, dude, 8 people died at your fucking show. Maybe more.
And that's not an 8 at a show. It's like one thing to be like 8 from the festival of the weekend. And even that would be a lot for anything I've been to. But 8 just at your performance.
It's too much. Can I go piss?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Another thing that
I put in the notes. Got the report right here. What's the news today, sir?
despite it being, I mean, not old. I wish I put a fucking date on here, you asshole. The owner,
Founder's probably a better way to say it.
Yeah, I didn't like that word once it came out of my mouth. The founder, the face of Project Veritas. An organization that, if the keen, real super fan savants have noticed, I have tagged in every new episode because that's how important I believe the work they are doing is. Got raided by the FBI casually. Yeah. For those who are completely out of the loop, I'll give you the quick little brief, and then my boy Zach lives this shit and is going to give us the real skinny. James O'Keefe, the founder of the organization Project Veritas, an organization, a conservative organization, as they describe themselves, who...
No, actually they don't. That's what other people can just...
Fuck, dude. Then I'm even being fucking... Because I read that in an article. I'm not lying.
That's what I'm saying.
Take over.
Well, no, you can finish.
Well, I'm going to let you finish.
I'm going to let you finish, but no, just finish what you're saying. Because the article, it's...
A right-leaning organization. An organization that is not aligned with the current administration. How about that?
A freedom-leaning.
Damn, why? I told you to take over. A freedom-leaning organization that dedicates themselves to exposing corrupt media such as CNN and pretty much every other outlet out there, doing very ballsy, very risky things, hidden camera, in the belly of the beast type of investigations.
To get you the truth.
To get you the truth and expose what's going on. So, his house, the founder, James O'Keefe's, got raided by the FBI, I think last Saturday, it said.
Yeah, so just a few days ago.
And under the pretenses of Ashley Biden, current President Joe Biden's daughter's diary. Something that was, one, released during the election. A couple pages were put out during the election, largely ignored due to people kind of questioning the authenticity.
Right.
Project Veritas itself was even approached and given...
by an anonymous tipster.
The diary.
Yeah. Apparently it was just left somewhere.
And James O'Keefe thought better of it and kind of thought, you know what? I'm not going to... I'll put words in his mouth for a second. It wasn't something they particularly wanted to deal in, so they opted to not run stories on it.
They couldn't corroborate if it was actually hers.
So they're not just these slanderous tabloids putting out bullshit. They found something that would have been very fucking salacious had it been something they could confirm.
I wish they could have confirmed it.
I agree. But they ultimately, as an organization, to keep their credibility to their, what in my opinion, spotless right now credibility intact. And still, the FBI decided to cause a very big stir, use a lot of taxpayer money, and raid his home for something that he gave back to law enforcement over a year ago.
Correct.
So make sense of that for me.
Well,
if there's any sense to be made.
Here's what I'll say. Let's go back a little bit And I'm going to tie in a couple other stories to validate how corrupt and how wrong this raid was. So in addition to this happening over the weekend, the sole source of information that the FBI was getting for the Russia collusion for Trump, of course, we couldn't hear the end of that for 4 years, colluding, the whole Steele dossier and Mueller report and blah, blah, blah.
That amounted to
Blah, blah, blah.
a steaming pile of nothing.
Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, come to find out, that sole person they were getting information from was lying. It just came out, too. So, it was all bullshit from the very beginning. FBI proceeded to go with it for an entire year knowing that this person was lying. So, there's something. FBI found out that they were more involved with 2021 rather, more so than they admitted. The Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, Whitner, whatever the fuck, the dictator from Michigan.
Yep.
Remember when that story came out, how they were like, yeah, a bunch of neo-Nazis want to
Kidnap
her. FBI had a bigger hand in that than expected. So, as you can see, there's a pattern here. The FBI is corrupt. So they needed something. They're trying to take them down because the FBI is being used as a strong arm now, in my opinion, by the administration, by the deep state, whatever you want to call them. So they take this and they figure, well, it was stolen. Maybe that's the pretense they're going off of, because when he got it originally, the tipster had said it was, we just have it. It's just left here. Like, I don't know if this was a setup from the get-go, but it smells fishy to me. It seems a little too convenient, if you know what I'm saying. Well, I know this took a little bit of time, but I feel like if it happened too fast, maybe people would see through the bullshit a little easier. But all I can say is that since when does the FBI bust down doors over a diary?
And what credibility would a diary hold up in court? I mean, there's so much subjectiveness and opinion that are in a diary. I've written shit in my own diary, probably at some point about you that in the moment, Zach's a fucking idiot, and this is an example. Zach's an idiot. I don't want to podcast with him, and then you kind of realize, like, oh, I needed to get that out. A diary is like a venting board.
You have a diary?
I had a journal.
That's gay. So anyway, just kidding.
They recommended it to me in rehab, asshole.
I the morning pages, baby. I write.
Amen.
I'm just fucking with you.
Well, let me say this real quick. I agree with you. What is the hubbub over a diary?
Well, what's in this diary, supposedly?
That's after this. The fact that it was a diary at all. Jonathan Turley of George Washington University wrote, the O'Keefe raid was odd, as a stolen diary did not seem to implicate any kind of federal crime, and suggested the possibility that Biden's Department of Justice might have been targeting a journalist seen as a political opponent.
Bingo.
That is a quote from Breitbart.com.
People are going to give us hate for that one.
Fuck them.
Well, I think it's odd, too. I think it was a direct opportunity in their eyes to go after them because they're doing good work. They got that one teacher fired in Southern California for literally giving extra credit to his students for going to Antifa and, protests and things of that nature, who has the hammer and sickle tattooed on him, who has the Antifa flag in his classroom, and who does a political quiz like every quarter, and he openly admitted in that sting operation, yeah, it's great. Every year we get more and more left. They got him fired when they finally exposed him. So, yeah, this is an opponent in their eyes. Oh, yeah, because they're bringing the heat. They're bringing the truth because they're exposing the agenda.
They started as this pesky mosquito. You're wiping at your ear.
Whap.
Whap. And they are slowly turning into a fucking murder hornet.
I know.
And what blows my mind the most, another video I'll link to, I'll put on the screen. I will go to the ends of the earth to promote what this organization is doing, and I mean that wholeheartedly. The CNN producer, what was he? An executive at CNN that they got to sit at a restaurant and just pretty much flat out admit on tape. So this isn't some sort of weird right wing, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, conspiracy. Got a CNN producer higher up to admit that they push anti-Trump propaganda agendas, anything to keep him out of office. I wish I had a quote on that. I didn't think about that beforehand.
Yeah, it's the same guy who was basically saying, too, like, oh, yeah, we keep the death numbers up there to keep the fire going.
Admitting to manipulating their platform to sway the public in a certain political direction.
I mean, their viewership speaks for itself. I mean, I feel like if they weren't funded by powerful people, they wouldn't even exist anymore because no one watches their shit.
Now, here I'm predicting what people are going to fucking say, and they're going to throw the Fox News argument at me.
Oh, I mean, they're corrupt too at this point.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, because I'll never forget when the election was going on, and this is not even a defense of Orange Man, because I couldn't care less. The dude hasn't been president forever. It feels like forever. Whatever. I said that last time.
You're right. I'm on to the next.
But they said they wouldn't remember when they called Arizona or whatever, this and that. And then there was another incident where Newt Gingrich was on. Newt Grinch.
He's weird looking.
Dude, a newt. Have you ever seen a newt? It's like a weird salamander thing. But yeah, he is weird looking. He looks like a aged Cabbage Patch doll.
His eyebrows. He must only dye his eyebrows.
Right. So he was on, and he brought up George Soros.
Acorn.
And I remember I think it was Faulkner. Yes.
Watch your damn mouth.
Faulkner. She was like, we don't need to bring George Soros into this or whatever. Because they've got to adhere. The only one that I like on their channel now is Gutfeld.
My dad watches him every night. My dad also watches
slaying it, the late night ratings.
My dad also watches Sean Hannity, and
I don't watch him anymore, man.
I'm Hannity, and I thought of it first.
He
that's his whole saying.
And I told you, and I talked to the president myself, and that's what I told him. And this country's going down without a fight, and blah blah. And he's just like silver fox tear, and he is the perfect for the boomers. He enrages the boomers.
What a setup Hannity and Colmes was to get this like fucking ex-football star jock-looking guy against this nebbishy little liberal.
I have a point.
Yeah,
fucking rest in peace, Colmes. He's dead.
Oh, that's right.
He's dead as fuck.
Damn, dude, that's terrible.
Hannity pissed on his grave, probably.
Hannity was just like, I'm number one now.
What a blemish on my career.
No, let's get it real. The only one worth a damn on that channel is Tucker Carlson. Speaking of his new documentary.
Oh, I don't know.
Patriot Purge, I want to call it.
Nothing about it.
I'm going to watch it. I'll give you the feedback on it.
Yes, sir. We could review it.
Yeah, I mean, but the teaser, it looks intense. It's about January 6th.
We had talked about this previous. There is a lot afoot about January 6th. According to the very credible, publicly credible person, Alex Jones. That's a little dig.
I love Alex.
I love Alex more
that motherfucker's been right more than anyone.
More than life itself. I love that man. I want him on the show tomorrow. I meant to say yesterday.
He's an island boy.
If you go to our enemy Andrew Schultz podcast, that's a joke too. But I watch him and I'm like, fuck, dude, we could have been that by now if we just fucking stayed fucking consistent. Alex Jones appeared on there twice, and he gives a detailed account about the 6th.
Yeah, because he literally said he was there, and he was like, that's what I told him. I said, no, we can't do the violence.
It's a good impression.
Yeah. He's like, no, they were trying to get violent, but I told them we can't be doing that right now. The gay frogs. Globalists.
He did give a very convincing depiction of what seemed like a setup that happened on the 6th.
I think it was a setup. And, like, I'm not even... It's neither here nor there. But I've seen the videos. They practically let him in.
all we're asking people to do here, don't take our word for it. And we put videos and links and shit on the screen now for a reason.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Listen for yourselves. What's so wrong about today's society and discourse today is that discussion is just dead. I go on Reddit, and I don't even know why I'm still fucking on there. Because you post one thing that kind of counters what the agenda is saying.
And do you get, like, just attacked?
Downvoted into oblivion, attacked, made to look like a fucking pariah.
Except for Alec Baldwin shit.
Alec Baldwin shit, and then this is...
I didn't know Reddit was that infested with that mindset.
Reddit is a huge place. And the inside joke amongst everybody on Reddit is kind of like if you post something a little against the grain, you're getting downvoted to shit. There's one subreddit that has like stood the fucking test of time.
So it's kind of like Twitter.
Twitter's worse in many ways. Reddit, you'll at least get some rational people in there sometimes. I'm going a little too hard on it. I was on this little baby subreddit, I want to say when it had like 300,000 people. Or, for those who don't know, Reddit, you do r/ whatever it is, r/ somewhat savants, r/ NASCAR, and you go look at it. This was r/ anti-work. And I had just quit that kitchen where I had left. I was so fed up with such a toxic work environment and a boss who like subtly was like wanting to fuck me and was married, but then like would play these head games with me and turn on me and then like use the weird relationship we had with each other against
Sounds like you're
me.
new to the restaurant life.
From what I've heard, your stories, yes, it was.
As I worked in restaurants for 6 years, I'm like, yep, that sounds about right.
You're very close quarters. Oh, I have this pan of risotto. Let me get past you.
The best gossip was doing dishes at the end of the night.
Oh, and her and I would do a lot of dishes together. Oh, Jared and I will do it. You guys can go. And I'm telling
Let's
you,
clean these pans.
I'm not going to say the name of this place, but and if she ever watches this, fuck it. I could have fucked her. And I had coworkers to corroborate it. I had just quit that job. I left her a note. I was so done. She went to the grocery store to get shit, and I was just done that day. And I was going to talk to her, and she knew I was going to talk to her. It was like a breakup. And
I quit.
I was ready. And she was like, I'm going to Sam's.
She avoided the conflict.
And just went. And so I was like, fuck it. I looked at my coworker. I want to shout her out, but then I don't. I looked at Emma Lynn. Shout out to Emma Lynn. She's a great girl. And told her, I'm writing a fucking note and I'm out of here. I'm done. I gave her a hug because she's cool as shit and was out. I left a sticky note saying, like, this is what I got to do. I had visions of this podcast, like, taking off and all this bullshit. And I left her a note.
Bigger things to achieve.
It was something along those douchey lines, and I left. And
I'm catching the midnight train to Georgia.
Right around this time, I found the anti-work subreddit because I was like, fuck a 9-to-5, fuck work, fuck this shit. The podcast, the music, whatever, I'm doing it. And I found a community of like 300,000 people who all believed what I believed. Which at the heart of it was really probably just
the population of the United States is...
It is now.
No, it's 300 million. Never mind.
It was all rooted in fucking laziness for me. I was just like, I hate
working
and responding to people. I want to be able to do what I want to do. And slowly but surely, this subreddit was growing. And what really got it to pop off was people posting screenshots of their quitting. And the boss is saying, like, you can't not come in. You don't realize or how hard I work, and you're so replaceable. And the people come back with these savage responses like, if I'm replaceable, I quit. And it was just a bunch of people who hate 9-to-5ing celebrating each other. And like I said, slowly but surely it grew and grew and grew and grew. and finally just hit 1 million members. And their big thing that they're catching articles now for, got it pulled up right now, Vice.com headline, Reddit's million strong anti-work community wants to black out Black Friday. And what that essentially means is everybody quit your jobs on Black Friday and cause mass chaos. Now, one might say, okay, yeah, these online things, whatever. Look at what Reddit's done in just the past year.
I mean, GameStop.
To the whole fucking economy.
And those Wall Street heads didn't like that one very much, did they? Shut it the fuck down.
I still am on Wall Street bets, even though I have nothing to do with the stock market. It kind of annoys me because they post so much, clogs up the fucking feed. But they are just on this mission. It's GameStop. It's AMC. They are just in it to fucking win it. And when I say that, I mean say fuck the fucking system. And we saw all the clips of the Fox News or Fox Business and MSNBC and all these people bad-mouthing Reddit and social media saying they need to get banned. We saw Robinhood stop fucking trading. I wish Caleb was here because he knows a lot more about this shit than I do.
Yeah, Robinhood, they were public enemy number one for a minute. People were like, what the fuck?
The power of the internet is just getting so crazy, and it sounds gay, but I'm so proud of this little tiny community that I was a part of for so long. Make fucking Vice headlines. And
because how many members did it have when you joined it?
To my recollection, like 300,000. And it, since COVID,
Oh, it's got to have over 1 million now.
it erupted, Zach. Once we saw companies, after we, the people, started leaving saying, oh, you were making 11 an hour? I'll give you 17. Wait a second. You could have given me 17 all along? And when people start realizing that kind of shit, and then, you know what, some people are smart with how they get money off the government and grants and whatever. You know what, fuck it. Fuck the government. More power to you. I don't like people who are sapping off the government, but people who know how to play the system and play it right and not have to go work a fucking 9 to 5, Jared, says more power to you. I would love that.
I mean, I do think working a 9 to 5 is not good for the psyche in the end, because that's why I don't work a 9 to 5 now. But I do work hard, but I have my own schedule.
You're right.
Kind of, sort of. But you gotta pay your dues at some point. You can't work it forever, but...
No, and I don't want to say that. You're right. I don't want to say that to encourage a lifelong career in scamming the government, because we also pay...
Well, I'm not encouraging a lifelong career in restaurant work either.
So...
But you got to move on from it.
But then here's the argument, and it's weird. We need restaurant workers, and we need those kind of people.
Yeah, I mean, those jobs are going to be available for people who
are on their way up, or are
on their way up, or
have
no desire to grow as a person. That may sound harsh, but that's what those jobs are for.
You know what? I would agree with that.
Because I was there once upon a time when I worked 6 years in the restaurant world. Drinking, smoking all the time, raging, no aspiration really, but no intention to be better. But when you actually find the intention to be better, you realize you're better than that job at some point. And you can have a better quality of life and you can make more money elsewhere, but you got to apply yourself. People who have no interest in that at any point, that job is meant for you. Get used to it.
It's a stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone, or it's the job, like I said, for if you don't want to grow any further as a person, keep it.
I used to think if everybody followed their dreams, then society would collapse. But I would also think when I was at these dead-end jobs, oh, shit, I'm here forever. That's why I quit many of my jobs.
Yeah, see, that is I don't want to say it's your fault, but that's,
it is.
That mindset is what is what jades your thinking. Because
Don't be polite with me. Shoot straight.
yeah, it's your fault. So, because when I was at those jobs too, I made sure to always never think like, oh, I'm stuck here. Like, I would work there for a while. Like, I worked restaurant jobs for 3 years. Like, at one place. But you always have to just know that it's not the end of the road. And sure as shit, it wasn't. I've done quite a few things. I haven't worked in a restaurant in almost 6 years.
Can we dedicate an entire episode to your restaurant stories?
Oh, God. I mean, if I can rehash them enough to tell them good.
If you were sober enough to remember half of them.
I know. I mean, my first job was Burger King at 16.
We have a good Burger King story, and like I said, I'm going to start like re-putting clips on the Clips channel. Go to the Clips channel. Show it some fucking love, please.
I know.
We work hard on it.
We got one last thing.
Okay.
Well, as you guys know, I'm a theme park guru.
Oh,
I love
yeah,
rides.
okay.
Shanghai Disneyland. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Sorry. Saturday. They locked that motherfucker down.
30,000 people?
30,000 people in Disney because of one positive COVID test. God, I love Marxism and communism.
Doesn't it work great?
It works so great. You can just do that there. Because I can tell you right now, if that would have happened here in Orlando, oh my God, would they have something coming. There ain't no way on God's green earth that I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning, getting to Disney to get on a dumbass ride and getting locked in because of a COVID positive test. That, my friend, you try that in America, you're going to have 50,000 upset people with you. That is crazy talk.
One COVID
One
positive
woman
test.
who visited Shanghai Disneyland on Saturday either later tested positive, if it was later tested positive and they locked it down, that's fucking crazy, or came into contact with someone who had it. According to reports, as a result, more than 30,000 visitors were locked in the park Sunday by Chinese government officials and forced to test negative before they were allowed to leave. Oh my God. According to AP, the Associated Press, all 33,863 people who had been at the park did indeed test negative. You know, I find that hard to believe. Massive oh, that's something different. Well, all I can say is that being locked into a theme park with 30,000 people and the only way out is to get a COVID test sounds like hell.
Where did they lock them?
Well, they're in the park. There's only one way in,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you know, where you scan your ticket to get in.
Yeah.
So that's the only way out. So they're just in the theme park.
Yeah, I know. I wonder.
So as they are leaving, they're like, no, 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 no,
No.
no.
It's more Japanese. Hoi.
Swab. Nostril. Scrape brain.
You do now?
Negative. Go. Positive. They'd be like Squid Games. They'd blast you on the spot, probably.
People just show up out of the bushes out of nowhere.
Dude, I want to know if what would have happened if you would have tested positive as you left. They probably would have been like, you wait right here. They would have. We sound like samurais. Oh shit! They get then you see hazmat suits. They'll come out. They freaking zip tie their hands together, zip tie their ankles. They cart them out, never to be seen again. That's what would happen if you tested positive when you came out of that bitch.
You know where we saw this before? In 2001 was fucking Monsters, Inc.
That's right.
That's exactly what they did to him when they had a laugh on him.
Yeah, when
Or a human part.
yeah, when they would like scan them after they came back from the closet.
He's got a sock on his back.
Fucking Sully, Mike Wazowski.
That prepped us. And my ex-wife used to tell me, Wally, remember Wally?
Wally.
Is prepping us for the future where we're all going to be just massively overweight, zooming around and stuff when we dump all
In a
our
space cruise.
and we dump all our trash in space.
God, it's so pathetic. Honestly, that is what's going to happen because let me tell you, the government wants you fat, unhealthy, and sick. That's why they want you to eat their processed foods. They hate you. They want nothing to do with you. They want us to die. And that's why they promote plus-size people on magazines now. I'm sorry. You can say whatever you want. That's why they're promoting being fat. They're promoting all of this mental jargon, gender shit. They don't want you to be healthy. COVID happens. They tell you to do everything but do healthy things.
They never mentioned when someone has diabetes, someone was overweight, somebody did not lead a healthy lifestyle. They only mentioned they died of COVID.
That's it. But over 70% had comorbidities. And not even to go too far into that, but the point of this is that, yes, we live in America, but the people who are running this bitch do not like you. That's why our music is corrupted. That's why our food is poison. And that is why they want to take away your freedoms. And that is why they're looking at China, locking up 30,000 people into a theme park, and they're salivating over it because they want to do it here. So wake up. That's all I got to say. Because this shit, all of these stories between the music, the elites who feed us the music, the elites who dictate the FBI break into your shit over diaries, and governments that are willing to lock you into a theme park just so they can stick a fucking cotton swab up your nose and tell you if you're good to leave. It's happening more and more, and the world has gone mad. And when are we going to have enough?
When are we going to have enough?
You know?